Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to another edition of Encounters. Today we've got a special interview with you, with the Sanji Fateh Balonu with the Sangat of New Zealand, in particular an organisation called BOSS. It's the Born Overseas Sikh Society. It's actually registered in Santa Clara in the USA, but this is the New Zealand branch of it. You're probably wondering how we've heard of it and why nobody else has heard of it. Recently they came to prominence and they came to public attention because they organised a series of demonstrations against the singer Jazzy B. Jazzy B, as of late, has been making political adverts for the Badal regime and singing the praises of Narendra Modi, as have others like Diljit Dosanjh, Gippy Garewal, Harpajan Maan, Hansraj Hans, Gurdas Maan also. They've all made these adverts, but so far the only concerts since those adverts were airing has been the first one by Jazzy B in New Zealand very recently. In response to those, the BOSS decided that they were going to do a counter demonstration and make their feelings known to Jazzy B that we don't appreciate what you did politically. We like you as a musician and as a singer and as an entertainer, but when you start taking political sides, that we find unpalatable. So without further ado, we're going to speak to Simran Singh of BOSS, BOSS. Paji, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Paji, I've tried my hardest to introduce you as best I can.
Yes, Paji.
If there's anything you'd like to add to who you are, what you represent, feel free to do so, Paji.
Paji, our organization was set up last year in the USA, and basically our main objective and our main mission and vision is to, take in interests of those Sikhs who are born outside India, and along with them comes in the Sikhs who are coming in from India right now, and basically our organization's been there for a while, and we've been working towards specifically drugs. And we've been working towards countering a lot of other issues which affect our community directly. So basically, we in general, we just concentrate on people who are born outside, who are of Sikh heritage, and we try to focus in on their concerns, and we try best we can, and we try to actually come in and give them any kind of legal advice, any kind of help they want, any kind of awareness programs they need to get out there. So anything, and that's our main objective, Paddy.
Okay, so when you say that your main objective is drugs and eradication of drugs, I'm presuming.
Yes.
Is that focusing on Punjab, or is that focusing on where you are in your own locality?
It's actually focusing everywhere, Paji. It's focusing in Canada, it's focusing in US, New Zealand. We don't have a very serious problem with drugs right now, so it's a clean country. We do have a problem with drug and substance abuse with these boys who are coming in fresh from India right now, because as you're aware, in India, the statistics are at 66% youth, or that's specifically boys who want drugs. No, 66%.
In New Zealand or Punjab?
No, these are boys from India. This is India's statistics, not New Zealand.
Punjab statistics are 73%, Paji.
Oh, that's amazing, Paji.
Yeah.
Because 66, I'm even following what Al Jazeera said last week. And even they said it's way worse, but we don't have proper statistics out there. But
BBC statistics are 73%.
Yes, and basically that's what our focus is. And a lot of these young boys who are coming in probably as students, or they're coming in through other means, for example, work permits and working with companies. So we're trying to create as much awareness, and we're trying to help these boys. We give them counseling. We give them any kind of psychological help they need. We've even come out and started giving people who've been clean for a year. We give them almost $10,000 as an incentive if you've been clean for a year. So we've been doing our best we can. We've been working with 200 boys since last year. We are working seriously on it right now. But drugs is a little bit of just It's just touching base. It's nothing. I mean, drugs is something which is a very sensitive topic in our community, and a lot of communities out there, we have problems also. And drugs is one taboo which a lot of people don't want to touch on, especially families. They don't want to admit it. First of all, that their sons are on drugs. They don't
Yeah.
want to admit, and a lot of girls are on drugs, buddy. And
It's the
we're having that
denial.
problem. It's the denial,
Yeah.
and the families. I mean, it's about creating the importance. A lot of families need to know how important it is. That they come out and tell us that our sons and our daughters are right now they're abusing some specific kind of substance. Then we can come give them some advice, work on that. Anything we can do, Padi, to help. That's what our main objective is. And okay, New Zealand, fortunately, Padi, people who were born here or people who come in here from other countries, the Sikhs who are coming here from other countries, for example, from Australia, from Singapore, Philippines, from Kenya. We have quite a diaspora of Sikhs from quite a number of countries in New Zealand. We don't have a problem with these Sikhs. We don't get a lot of problems with them. Most of the problems in substance abuse party is from families which are coming in from India, and that's where we come in and help them because they don't have much help in that issue, and that's where what we can do is we can provide counseling and we can advise them on that. Yeah.
Hey, Paji, with respect to the community, you say you have a diaspora that's made up of different nationalities of Punjabis, if for want of a better phrase. They're Punjabis, they're Sikhs, but they're from different countries. And they've now
Hanji.
gathered in New Zealand, yeah?
Yes.
Is the actual community cohesive?
Paddy, we have a little bit of a problem, a bit similar to Canada, because we have a lot of divisions among the community. We have a lot of different wings, and the other problem, Paddy, we are as old a migration as Canada. We've been here for almost 120 years,
Yeah.
and the problem is we have the older community which is in here, and they don't have much of an interaction with the other communities, especially the ones which are coming in afresh and from India. So the problem comes in that we can't. I mean, in terms of interaction among ourselves, it's a little bit of a problem. It's a little bit of a problem. We also have a lot of different communities which have completely, mm, as to say that they've just been busy among themselves with their own personal affairs. We have the Sikh community from Philippines. We have the Sikh community from Singapore who are quite around here, and they don't really interact with the other communities as much. But they do, nevertheless, they do have their own events. They do have their own counterparts. Anything. I mean, they do have their events, but they do have a little bit of in terms of social gatherings. They do have a little bit of withdrawal from other communities, or so that's been affecting a bit. Paddy.
For example, do you have a Nagar Kirtan in New Zealand? Does everybody play their part?
During Langar Kirtans, Paddy, we have several gurdwaras in Auckland. In Auckland, we have about 5 or 6 gurdwaras right now, and a lot of these gurdwaras are being run by different parties. They're
Right.
being run by different groups, and
Factions.
a lot of these groups are mostly the ones who have come in from India. We also have some of the gurdwaras which are being run by specific Sikh wings. For example, the Nanak Sar Gurdwara, it's quite well known here in Auckland. So we've been having that here.
Paji, you see, with all these different factions that you say that control the Godare, they've come from India, certain ones come from India. And then you've got like Nanaksar and stuff and different wings, as you say. Does that cause a division in the community per se? Is there any sort of cohesive community? Does everybody get along and represent and help each other? Like, for example, in New Zealand, in England, for example, we have an issue where Sikhs that wear turbans have to wear hard hats when they're at work. Now, the community was represented by an organisation called the Sikh Council here in the UK. It works as an umbrella organisation for all the different factions and all the different wings also. Do you have any sort of umbrella organisation, any sort of forum that can address the community's issues as a whole?
Firstly, Paji, we do, like every other community, we do have a lot of divisions. That's a fact. And, it's something we can't deny. A lot of these gurdwaras are being controlled by different groups. And the thing is, most of these groups have their own, mandates. They have their own ideas of how community, operations and community events and all these things need to be run according to them. We do have a lot of umbrella organizations like the New Zealand Sikh Society. We have other societies which are here, and they have their own mandates. They have their own ideas, and they have their own missions and visions and their own objectives. The thing is, Paji, we don't right now. A lot of these leaders, these we do have self-proclaimed and self-initiated leaders who come in and represent the community towards interests, which are for the community in general. For example, immigration. All the time, we do have a lot of leaders, who come in together and approach immigration for maybe some rules which have been changed and any such similar, cause. The thing is, Paji, we do have a lot of associations. We have a lot of organizations. We have a community of alls around 80,000 right now. 80,000 Sikhs in New Zealand from a population of 4.5 million. So, being a significant community, we do have a lot of organizations. So many of these organizations handle different matters differently. And that's how we've been running in New Zealand for a while now. And a lot of these organizations don't get along. We have a lot of these groups which have been politicized, and a lot of these groups have been trying, to work on a. Actually, most of these groups are working on a similar cause. The problem is we don't get a lot of unity, and we have a lot of such communal issues. Yeah.
Has that ever worked in a negative for you?
It has. It has a lot of times. A lot of times when we've been trying to interact with other communities, or we've been trying to create awareness about Sikhs, and we've been trying to bring in more information for everyone else. A lot of times, other people have different views. A lot of people have different ideas, and we get a lot of people countering other organizations, and it does happen, Paji, very frequently. And New Zealand, like just like UK, we do have the same problems. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was just trying to ascertain.
I
And
do.
find that out for certain.
Sure, that's it then.
Okay. Recently, you've come to the attention over the last 7-10 days that Jazzy B had a concert in Auckland. You participated in an event both outside and inside the centre. Can you explain that to us? Can you explain what happened and why it was necessary?
Definitely, Paji. The event, the event was a concert. He was actually promoting one of his upcoming movies. I'm not sure what the name is, but
Oh, I don't know
him
that.
and yeah, him and his other. We had two singers who came the same day, which is Gary Sandhu and Jazzy B. And
Okay, was he there as
initially,
well? They were
yeah,
both
he was
together.
there in the same
Oh,
show.
okay.
It was it started off with Gary Sandhu. There was no problem during his time. During his time, everything was all right. The protest was continuing and outside, and people came in and had they wanted their voices heard, and they came in especially when Jesse B was on. So just to start off, Paji, about the event a little bit, we were our organization came with information on the previous day. We weren't told that this protest was supposed to happen until a day before. The protest initially was organized by International Students Association of New Zealand, and
Is
they
that
had
Kulbir
about
Singh?
150. Sorry,
Is
Paddy?
that Kulbir Singh, is it?
That's Lakwinder. That's Lakwinder Singh. He lives in a city called Rotorua, just a neighboring city to Auckland, and he was actually the main organizers of the show.
Right,
Kuldeep Singh is one of the other organizers sorry, he was the organizer of the protest.
right,
Kuldeep Singh was the co-organizer of the same event,
right.
and then we had the other organization, which was
Just
ours.
for our viewers' sake, Kuldeep Singh
Hanji.
was supposed to be on the show today, and unfortunately he hasn't been able to take part.
Yes, actually, Lakwinder and Kuldeep were both supposed to be here, but unfortunately they couldn't make it. And but there's no problem. I'm still there, and I will pass on the
Absolutely,
message.
yeah.
Yeah. And so what happened, Paji? We were informed a day earlier, and initially we thought we'll be only a few boys. We will only be a few, members of youth who will be there, who will be bringing this matter, to the larger population's attention. It was a surprise. We were several hundred. We were over 200, Paji. And on the day of the show, Paji, we started. The show was supposed to start at 7 o'clock in the evening, and we started regrouping around 4 o'clock. And the several groups came in from other cities. We had a group came in from Northern Town. We had another group which came in from Tauranga, from another town called Tipuki, from Wellington, from Hamilton, and all these boys showed up. And we had several issues that we wanted Jazzy B to address. And main issue, Paji, the main issue was his involvement in drugs. Jazzy B is officially involved in drugs. His name's come out in drugs. It's come out once or twice.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegations have been made that Jazzy B is involved with the drug trade of Punjab.
Yes.
All speculation at the moment, yeah?
At the moment, it is speculation, but the word is quite strong because it's been out there in India for a while now. And secondly, Paji, the main reason why we're getting pulled towards his involvement in drugs is because the Badal government, the government we do have, which has been running in India for 30 years, has been named in drugs recently by somebody called Pola in Punjab.
Yeah, and Shashikant as well.
Hanji, and Shashikant, yes.
Ex-Director General of Police Prisons.
Oh yes. And he came out, and he actually came in directly and started naming a lot of big names, in the Badal government right now, in the Badal Sarkar.
Bikram Majitia, nameless.
Hanji, Majitia, and a few others. The thing is, it could be allegations, it could be speculation. The facts of the matter is this man went ahead and endorsed the same government a couple of days earlier, and before elections were supposed to happen in India. And we do understand Jazzy B has a huge following worldwide. It's huge.
Millions.
It's millions, Pali. But the thing is, the following is breaking off right now, and is breaking off significantly because we do have a lot of youth which have been born outside who came in at a young age out here, and they've been trying to keep together with the Punjabi heritage. And the thing is, our organization alone, Paji, we received over 1,500 emails. 1,500 emails of the protest that we did. What we did was a must, and it was a requirement, and it was very important, to inform the entire community worldwide. And coming back to Jazzy B, Paji, the thing is, the drugs issue is huge. It's huge right now, because we have a huge ratio of Punjabi youth which is on drugs. And the same youth coming out here, and the same youth getting affected out here. And, we could speculate, we could say anything otherwise. The fact still remains, Paji, there could be, and there is, Jazzy B's involvement somewhere. Somewhere he is there. And he's being named by, he's been associated with big names like Raja Kandola, in Punjab. Who's actually one of the biggest known drug pushers right now in Punjab.
Okay.
And
you see, with these allegations, when you make allegations of these type, there's particular people are pushing drugs in Punjab, and Jazzy B may or may not be related to them in a business sense. It's all very well and good making these allegations, but without the police in Punjab or the judiciary in Punjab making light of these, pushing cases against these people, there'll always remain allegations. So when we talk about these things in a media sense, in a wider sense, we have to acknowledge the fact that these are but allegations. Yeah. With regard to the actual demonstration that was outside the Civic Centre in Auckland, that he came out, he made a response to that, yeah? And his response was that, why do you want to support the Aam Aadmi Party? ਜਦੋਂ ਆਉਣਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਝਾੜੂ ਫੇਰੂਗੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੇ,
Hanji,
or
Hanji.
whatever it was, something to that effect anyway. And
Paji,
he assumed that this was an anti-Badal demonstration. He didn't realize, or did he realize, that this was actually a demonstration against him and his perceived personal involvement in the situation of Punjab youths and their drug addiction and their problems societal wise.
Paji, in the sense, okay, the boys who were there, they came in from three or four different agendas. The first issue, okay, drugs is right now, it's out there in the open, and whether it's allegations, whether whatever it is, he needs to come out. He needs to go to the public and tell them. He needs to come out and give his side of the story. We can't. There's one issue over here, Patti. We can either wait for the Indian authorities to come out and investigate and tell us, which we all know out here. I mean, it's a waste of time to be direct. It's actually a waste of time.
Absolutely.
Because it's the same government out there, it's the same people out there, it's the same people who've been there for 30 years, and it's the same people who've been, running Punjab, to be honest. And I mean, we could either rely on them to come and do investigations and tell us what they can, or we could just come out here and have a forum, have a discussion, have a way we could actually come in and face these guys. It doesn't matter how big Jazzy B is. It doesn't matter if he has a following of millions. It doesn't matter, Padi. We have people who have gone through, use Facebook to topple governments. A lot of these things can happen. A lot of these things can happen, and they can happen at a global scale. The thing is, we could come out here, we could talk a lot of legalities, we could talk a lot of, authorities haven't done this, they haven't done that. The thing is, Padi, why does somebody's name get associated with drugs? I mean, it's been there for a while. It's been there for a while. He's not come out and given any statement. He never does. Coming back to the event, Padi, once we were demonstrating and we got into that event, instead of coming out and addressing students and addressing the boys who were there, a lot of boys who were born in New Zealand, a lot of boys who were, born elsewhere, we were a mixed group. He tried, instead of coming out and talking to us, he actually came out and attacked us. He had the mic. He came out here, he attacked us. The first thing he said, Padi, he gave in a lot of comments which were very interesting, and they're very interesting for the entire community worldwide. They need to know. Like you said, he was talking about the Aam Aadmi Party. Aam Aadmi Party supporters in our group were probably about 10%, who were holding Aam Aadmi banners. But, they have the right to hold those banners also because the government we have in India has failed them, has failed us. And it's been failing us for generations. And it's still going to fail us. And the next people who can make a change are the people who can actually come out and talk about this. They can come out and say, this is something we're not happy with, to open a forum. So the thing is, Padi, there was the issue of drugs, there was the issue of supporters of Aam Aadmi Party, then there was the issue of people who were really upset over his comments of endorsing a government without being straightforward. He came and endorsed the government, and he started giving a lot of comments. In the advert, in case you've seen the advert, Padi, he talks about, how sports, how is being brought into Punjab, how the Badal government's helping with sports. For heaven's sakes, we have bigger issues on our hands. How can you come out and endorse a government on the sense that it's helping sports? It doesn't make sense. And then on the other hand, Padi,
73% of the youth is on drugs. So technically,
sorry,
we're talking about 27% of people maybe doing sports.
We're probably even talking about 2%, Padi.
If that.
We're talking about, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Okay, Padi, let me come back to the event slightly. He came out, he gave a lot of comments which were very interesting. And the first thing he came out is he attacks the entire, because all our group was on the left side of the arena. He came and started directing all his comments at our group directly.
Yeah.
Initially, the group had tried contacting the organizers of the show. The show organizers said we cannot, we can't organize a forum for you where you can talk. We can't do that. So they said it's fine. They said there's no problem. So we'll just come, we'll make it a peaceful protest, and we leave. And that's what we did, Padi. We didn't do anything, which was outside the law. We went there, we did a protest which was within the confines of the law. We went there and we went with legal counsel who was actually guiding us on what to do, just in case, his security or anybody else, took any action and there was
Yeah.
another reaction.
Provoked it
Everything
anyway.
was being, yes,
But you see,
everything was being
the protest itself, the fact that you
Haji.
got a response from Jazzy B shows that it was significant enough for him to address it. But let me ask you a question. What do
Haji.
you say to the people who say he's just a singer, whatever allegations about drugs there are, if he addresses those, that makes them, gives them any kind of credibility to those allegations. The allegations are baseless. He's an innocent guy. He's made a few adverts for a political party, which we don't know whether he has connections to that political party, but he's well within his rights to make any advert he wants to make. Yeah? Just as
You know,
just the same as anybody else has any right whether they want to go to his concert or they don't want to go to his concert. So if you've chosen to go there and do a protest at his concert, you've chosen a third way. Whereas your democratic right would have been, if I am a fan, I go to his concert. If I'm not a fan, I stay at home. What do you say to those people that say that you're creating a tension or an issue that would not necessarily be there if you didn't take over offence at something that you should have just took offence at?
Haji, the only people who are actually giving such kind of feedback are the people who don't have knowledge right now. They don't know. They don't know what the objective of the protest was. We could have boycotted it because that was initially our idea that we should boycott this event. Let's not go there. Let's tell people about it and let people boycott the event. But that wouldn't help, Haji. That will not help. I mean, how many people do boycott these events? At the end of the day, a lot of these people, it's a weekend, it's a Sunday, people will still go. The thing is, the protest was very vital, Paddy. It was very vital to be out there. For us to be out there, it was very important. For the information to get out there was very important. The people who think that we went to that protest and we could have just boycotted it and we could have just said, oh, let's leave it or let's not go. That is not the answer. That is not the answer to any problem, Paddy. If that was the answer, then I think in that case nobody would return to Punjab. Because coming back to this thing, it's a whole, it's a lined up issue here. It's just not Jazzy B. It's a whole network of events which connect him. We might be using him as a platform, to get our grievances out there. But the whole issue is just not about him. The issue is he endorsed a government which has failed. He came in and instead of like other singers like Diljit or GP, whoever actually came in and endorsed the same government, they might have come in and given an apology, but it doesn't mean we accepted it. We did not.
So will you be
Because
will you be demonstrating against Gippy Garibal as well? Diljit Dosanjh?
you see, Paddy, there are a lot of issues right now which we have on our hands, and the thing is, all these singers, the main fact is they are more concerned about their own financial gain. They're not concerned about social responsibility which they have to the people, and they don't care about the public.
Of course, they're
All they
entertainers.
care, I mean, they just, as long as these organizers keep paying them, as long as they keep inviting them, and as long as this country keeps giving them the visa, they will keep coming. And they'll keep doing the events, regardless of whether we go and demonstrate or we do not. So the thing is, Jazzy B here is the concern because he's one of the biggest singers, he's one of the biggest singers in the Punjabi scene. He's one of the guys who has a lot of on his shoulders, He
You're
should
not
come
the
out.
biggest.
He's one of the biggest, yes. And he's one of the biggest who's actually he's a bridge between the gap between the West and the East. He's a bridge. And he should be one of the most responsible singers right now. He should be one of the guys who should come out and say, whatever I do, it will have repercussions. It will have actions and reactions.
Okay, you see that day when he made his response to yourselves, to the protesters. During that response, he said that he received death threats for the song Buggy and his support of Rajowana. And at that point, no one stood beside him. He was left on his own. And then he says, now I made an advert for Badal. and everybody wants to kill me. He goes, where were you then when I was being given death threats? What do you say to him?
To this thing, let me tell you, he's never come to the public. He's never gone public. I mean, we have almost 30 million Sikhs worldwide who would have come down and related to any of his concerns earlier. Has he ever gone to the public? Has he ever gone to the media and told them that I'm receiving death threats, over a song? Has he ever gone and said that I'm getting death threats over the song Buggy and I need your help? Has he ever gone and registered a complaint with the police in India or anywhere else? He's never. Okay, he pulls that card out when he sees 200 boys who are standing out there and demanding answers from this man. And these are the same 200 boys who were probably his fans earlier.
Were you his fan?
And I was never his fan, buddy. I always saw through him.
Well,
I was never
from day one.
From day one, buddy, we have a lot of problems with Punjabi music. There's a lot of depletion in Punjabi music right now. And Jazzy B, I've never been his fan. And apart from that fact, buddy, he does have some good songs out there. He has talent. He has a good voice. I mean, he could use it for the good of the community. He could use it in general. He could use it good. And he could get a lot of good feedback. For example, buddy, we got 1,500 emails, which were from all over the world, from Singapore, from US, from Canada, telling us what we did was brilliant. And there was one or two emails which said we were actually, what we did wasn't. And one of those emails was somebody from Seattle, from the US. He told us that we owe a lot to Jazzy B because he's brought Punjabi to Canada. He's brought Punjabi back. I don't understand, buddy. I don't understand. Why is it that we have to rely on singers, to do a lot of these things for us and our community? Why is it? And a lot of these singers don't have any social responsibility to the community in general. Coming out, buddy, to the comments that Jazzy B made, there are a couple of things I want to make clear. First of all, when we went there, we were expecting a proper response. We were expecting this guy to come out and address us, probably ask us for one of our representatives, take 5 minutes, have this forum on stage in front of the community. We had thousands of people who were at that event.
You were expecting a dialogue?
Yes, we were. We were, buddy. He came in. When he was entering the event, he saw us. I mean, it's very hard to ignore a couple of hundred boys out there who were protesting.
Waving banners.
Yes, and it was, the center where the event was taking place is one of the biggest centers in New Zealand. So he should have come there, and he should, instead of coming and addressing the forum, number one, buddy, he came drunk. He came to the stage, drunk, which is amazing.
It was rather aggressive, but to suggest he was drunk is that you're guessing.
Not guessing, buddy. There is no guesses which I'm making when I'm here. The thing is, buddy, he was drunk. Even one of the people who are organizing the show have admitted to it. To a lot of one of the secretary to our association, he's admitted that he was under the influence of alcohol. And I mean, coming out there, attacking us on the stage, because it was generally an attack. Look at his comments. He came in, started talking about Aam Aadmi Party, he said, Chadu Fir Denge, Thodi Sare, aspiration, whatever he said.
Yeah, that's what he said, basically.
Which is amazing, Paji, because when you say these kind of things, I mean, you're trying to, politicize the whole issue, and you are trying to make it, go away as easy as possible. And most importantly, Paji, he probably recorded that event and went and showed it in Punjab. He went and showed it in Punjab and said, this is what I did. I endorsed your government. And I went out there and told them, go back to India, spend thousands of dollars, buy a ticket and go and vote in India. What are you guys doing here? And these are the things he said.
That's what yeah, absolutely.
Haji, and the fact is,
does he have a point?
Let me tell you, Paji, he does not have a point because more than half of the group wasn't even Indian citizens. They were not. We were not there. We were not talking about voting in general. We were not talking about politics. We had a lot of issues we had to address with this guy. And the thing is, he came out. He started giving out comments as harshly as he could, and when we saw nothing would happen, we left the arena and we continued with our protest outside. The thing is, buddy, about the Buggy song, let me come back to the Buggy song. He's claiming that I made a Buggy song and nobody was there.
Yeah, well, he was given death threats because of that song.
First of all, buddy, he's never, if I'm talking this on a personal note, He's never before this event come out and told people that he's received death threats. He's never come out. He's never approached any journalists. He's never approached any media house, to come and say that I'm receiving death threats. I need help. People need to know. He's never done that. How come these things came up in New Zealand? Because a couple of hundred boys were standing there asking answers. Is that the reason why this thing came out? Secondly, Paji, the other thing he was mentioning in the event, apart from the issue of Ahmad Party, the other thing which he was mentioning was okay, not mentioning, but in general, the way our organization actually came down and concluded his response, it was a prepared response. It was a prepared response. It was a response which was supposed to come in and keep him, on the safe side, as well as dividing a community. Party. It was a dividing comment he gave, which was to divide the community. Because when he said, Party, there's another comment he said, "Jathe baron aa jande ne, ke bahar aake jathe Punjabi chale jaan, bahar jaake yahi kuch kar dein." I don't know if you saw those comments.
Yeah. I heard the whole thing.
Which is really amazing, because at the end of the day, he knows that in every country there are two kinds of communities. We have that community which has been there for a while, for a couple of years. Most of the guys who have been born there or probably came in at a young age, New Zealand citizens, well settled. Then we have the community which comes in from India. They come either as students or coming on other kinds of visas. This is something, Pari, this is something he was told to do. This is something he was told to do, because, at the event, well, we had a lot of supporters.
So are you suggesting it was orchestrated?
Yes, it was. It was definitely orchestrated.
But then, have you given him the opportunity by protesting?
Sorry, Paji, come again?
Have you given him the opportunity for that forum? Because if you weren't there protesting, he wouldn't have had the opportunity to address an issue that wasn't there.
We gave him an opportunity, Paji. We had initially told the organizers that we do need this. We do need this forum with this. We do need a direct, conversation with Jazzy B. And the organizer said, no, I've spent $60,000 already organizing the show. I can't have interferences. I can't have other issues on my mind right now. And this was his response. Our organization came in and said, we will give you the 60,000. We will give you the 60,000, but can you kindly open this forum of discussion with this guy? Let us record something with him. Let's record something with him. We get the word out there so that people can also understand him. But his comments, looking at his comments, this orchestrated, the comments he came out with and directly started, trying to divide the community in New Zealand, because this was a divisional comment. Secondly, Paji, he came and said, I was a fan of Santji.
Yeah.
It's a very sensitive topic to us people who are born outside, because, Santji Janal Singh was a very important figure, modern day Sikh figure to us. Very important. His ideas, his what he did, his sacrifices, very important to us. And he knows, Jazzy B knows, that whenever you want to divide a community, bring in topics which are very sensitive. And that's what he did. He came in, brought up Santji's topic, so that the community which is here, born in New Zealand, brought up here, they would feel closer to him. So they would agree with him.
But it's clear that he is to some extent a fan of Sanjay Ness and Khalsa Pindra, because at the end of the day, there's no denying that he sang the song Buggy.
No ways, no.
That wouldn't have been for financial reward, because it wouldn't have made much money for him. Not the same amount.
That, because the reason being, if he is a fan, does he know that he's endorsing a government which is responsible for 84? For
the murder, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Does he know that? Of course he does. He's getting money. He's getting a lot of money being paid for him right now. Him.
It's clear that Jazzy B has contradictions in his character.
He has two faces, Paji. He has two faces for the public.
But Paji, to move on a moment, the demonstration outside Auckland was followed by demonstrations in Melbourne this week also.
Paji, the Melbourne one happened before ours. It happened before ours. Yeah.
Did it? The Amitabh Bachchan one?
Oh, sorry, the Amitabh Bachchan happened after. Yes,
Yeah, it happened
yes,
after. It happened just
yes.
several days back.
But we did have protests happening in Melbourne and Perth on the Jazzy B
The
concert,
Jazzy
which
B
was
ones, of course, of course. No,
yeah.
I was just switching it a moment.
All right.
So we've had the Amitabh Bachchan one, we've had the Jazzy B ones. Um, Gippy Garewal and Diljit Dosanjh are scheduled to come to the UK this month in May. Are you expecting this to become a regular feature for artists based in India or artists that have created controversies that are India based? For them to start seeing a backlash around the world that whatever it is that you've done has caused an effect in India, therefore you should not be free to travel, so to speak, without repercussion, even if it's just a demonstrative repercussion, when you try to make money off of Western audiences. Is that something you think is gonna be coming more and more regular?
Uh, First of all, Paji, we do want it to be. We do want this thing to happen any way it can, whether it's Canada, whether it's US, whether it's UK, whether it's Australia, New Zealand. We want this to be regular for a couple of reasons. First of all, there's a lot of depletion in Punjabi music in general.
Yeah,
There's a lot of depletion in Punjabi music. There's a lot of depletion in lyrics. Most of these singers, most of these singers that you've mentioned, Paji, most of them have songs which aren't family songs or aren't passing on any sensible message. And it's just that these songs are making money for them, you know, and that's what the market is out there, of the youth which is coming out.
but
The thing is,
a capitalist would say that you can only make money in a market that is fed well.
uh, yeah,
There's clearly a demand. It's a demand and provide situation
there
with the
is,
music.
there is. You're very right, Paji. The demand's there, but you see, the demand's being created more and more by them still. The markets, I mean, whatever singers do, our youth will find it good. I mean, even if they can come out and say any kind of statements, anything they say, our youth will come out and always sympathize with them. They're public figures. That's why I came in and said they have a social responsibility.
Yeah,
The thing is, buddy, a lot of well-educated youth out there, a lot of young boys who are coming out, they do know a lot of these things, and they start knowing these things probably in mid to late 20s. Once they've been a fan of all these singers, they start knowing that these guys, the way they're running, I mean, the kind of music they're making, it's having a lot of effects on people's social lives either way.
yeah,
Look at Jazzy B Pari. At one side, he's singing songs like Buggy, and he's trying to gain acceptance within probably the older generation of Sikhs, or the Western diaspora of Sikhs. On the other hand, he's going and endorsing a government in India, which is clearly failed, every Western Sikh, to be honest. Because I've never seen or I've never heard, personally, our organization has a lot of focus and we've never ever got any kind of feedback, positive feedback with the government which is in India. So, I mean, it's all contradicted. The singers party, coming to your the question about the singers coming out and the protests continuing and all this happening, it is a requirement party. It is important. It's important that if in a country like New Zealand, 200 youth can come out, 200 plus youth can come out. We have cities all across Canada, US, UK, which have significant populations of Sikh youth. They should come out. They should come out and they should demand answers. And the other thing, Pari, organizers should also have this social responsibility that we do have a group, we do have an association, we do have somebody who has approached us and would want a statement from this person.
yeah.
It doesn't matter how big the singer is. It doesn't matter how
Well,
important.
it happened last year. There's an MP in the UK called Keith Vaz. He's an Indian origin MP. He had been an elected representative for 25 years. So in celebration of that, he had a gala dinner in Leicester, which is his hometown. Amitabh Bachchan was going to be the guest of honour. With the demonstrations before the event even happened, Amitabh Bachchan developed back problems and back pain and was unable to travel to the UK in the event. So that had some significant impact upon the popularity of Amitabh Bachchan and his accessibility to people of influence within the UK. The same happened when he was during the Olympics of 2012. He was to carry the torch for a certain amount of time. He was heckled, shouted at. He did do it. He did complete the portion of the journey of the torch that he was supposed to. But he did have issues with hecklers and protesters making themselves very vocal. But these people are the high profile faces of issues that are historical. But what I mean is these new guys that don't have the history, like Amitabh Bachchan is intricately connected to the events of 1984 with his appearances on Doordarshan and stuff like that. Jazzy B has a history in Punjab, like we say, it's allegations, but they've never been addressed either judicially or by himself publicly. He's never addressed them. So they remain allegations which we can't really put weight to until that happens. But people like Diljit Dosanjh and Gippy Grewal, these are new guys who don't have the history of 10, 15 years that we can look at and see where they're coming from, see what their connections are, both entertainment-wise and rurally. Like we say, Jazzy B's connections to whichever trades are through his connections, through his bend, through his rural connections, as opposed to his entertainment connections. With the new guys, are you expecting to see these guys demonstrated against simply on the weight of the adverts that they made in respect of the Akali Dal and BJP ticket?
Sorry, Paji, you broke. I couldn't get your question, Paji.
Oh, I'm not going to repeat the whole question. Basically, the CD Akali Dal adverts done by Gippy Grewal and the BJP adverts by Diljit Dosanjh.
Hanji.
Just simply because of those adverts, on the weight of those adverts alone, do you want these people to be demonstrated against everywhere they go?
That's a very good question, Paji. It's a very good question. It's not just because of the adverts. That could be one of the issues. I mean, which touches a lot of people, and you could use it as a, as fuel towards the protest. But the protest in general is due to a lot of reasons. A lot of reasons. Also, because of depletion of Punjabi music. Either way, there is no motivation coming out to the youth through this, the music. There is no kind of motivation. It's just becoming a whole routine of same, recycled lyrics. To say, they're just out there. They're making the same music which has been there for a while, and they've been doing the same thing again and again, year in year out, and album out, same recycled lyrics. Most of the songs.
Is that their fault, or is that the industry they're in?
It is, Paji. The thing is, Paji, we could sit here and say, that's the market. They also need to make money. We don't have any denial with that. We have no problem with that. The only thing is there is something called social responsibility. There's a lot of youth. We're talking about millions of youth worldwide who listen to these people. We're talking about millions of youth worldwide. And we're talking about millions of youth in India.
What you've got to realize is that you see the Bollywood has been doing that for 60, 70 years. They churn out the same thing over and over again. When you have people like Amir Khan who make a stand and say, look, I want to be more socially responsible, he's allowed to do that, of course he is. But when he walks away, he's replaced by another guy. And it's almost like a conveyor belt, for want of a better phrase, that whoever steps off, the conveyor belt doesn't stop. They'll just replace them with somebody else. So when you've got a young guy who's spent his formative years wanting to be an entertainer, and he becomes, because there are only certain golden tickets like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, there's only a set number of people that are going to be able to have that lifestyle. So if you become one of the chosen ones, so to speak, and you're chosen to be an entertainer, it's only a short-lived career anyway, unless you're hyper talented like Gurdas Maan or Satinder Sartaaj or somebody like that. When you can write your own songs and you can dictate your own career path, they're the chosen few. But otherwise, your average guys like Diljit Dosanjh and everybody, you just got to get exposure where you can get it and however you can get it. Can you really blame the individual entertainers for that?
Yes, we can. You see, Paji, every entertainer, every singer, every actor has you know has a certain level of quality in terms of personality, in terms of being generally responsible to his specific audience, and being organized and being a person of status. It is a fact. A lot of these guys are, there's a lot of depletion right now. There's a lot of decay, a lot of internal decay in music, a lot of internal decay in general. And what you said about one going and another coming, I mean, it's a cycle. It will continue forever. It's a fact it will. If we don't try to break it, if we don't come in and we don't try to break it, it will forever continue. So it's now's the time. Now's the time. We have a huge Sikh diaspora worldwide, and a lot of the incomes from us. A lot of the incomes from out here. They come out here, do big shows. Charge $100 for a ticket. A lot of people go there. It's house full sometimes, and I mean, we need to tell these guys, that the music you're putting. On one side, you're talking about, dope shop Mariana Karo. On the other side, you're singing songs about Santaji. It doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, you reaching all kinds of audiences, but you're contradicting yourself. You're becoming, you're decaying our culture. Our culture is getting decayed. Our culture is getting decayed, buddy. And the fact is, we need to break that cycle. We need to come out. We need to, come out more and more often. We need to come out and whatever the reason, whether it's about the decay in music, whether it's about the endorsements of certain parties and governments, or whether it's about any other sensible reason, people should come out. They should come out and question these guys. If we won't, who else will? I mean, organizers will make their money. They'll make a couple of $100,000, a couple of £100,000 from a show, and pay him what his share, and he'll just leave. The thing is, Padi, they have a responsibility. They could have millions in following. They could, and I'm sure. I mean, in general, even what we've done at Jazzy B's concert, we've always got fans, who tell us, "Gaane ta change gauna, badiya, was badiya." People will always find a good reason. They'll always find a reason to counter what others are doing. So the more awareness we create, among the larger population, the more it's going to be better for everyone, and it's going to be better for the younger generation. It's going to be better for the generation coming after us. If we try and break this cycle, you cannot have the same singers, coming out and justifying what they're doing that other singers are doing it. Everyone is an individual. Everyone is an individual. All these singers have the chance. They have, to make a mark, to leave a good, positive impression on the general community. They have that chance. With one song, Padi, they don't know how much effect it takes on the youth. It does affect the youth. There are a lot of songs which are coming out about drinking. There are a lot of songs which are coming out about drugs. There are a lot of songs which are coming out about violence. There are a lot of songs which are coming out about a lot of topics which have nothing to do with music at all. Just because the lyrics are decayed, a lot of youth are trying to copy what these people are doing.
Well, they perpetuate things like Jat Path as well.
Oh yeah, definitely, buddy. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, talking about caste, in a song doesn't make sense. I mean, you can come out and talk a song. You can make a song on a historical Sikh figure. You can come in and say anything, which is culturally, which is helping our rich culture.
Yeah.
But I mean, you really see that happening. You really see it. I mean, like we said, the market is in these funny songs, and they keep continuing and making these songs. They never stop. In fact, as we're speaking, Paji, somebody in India is recording a funny song right now.
Right this moment. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, so we need to break
ever decreasing circles eternally. That's where we're at. So, buddy, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. I know the time lapse difference. You're
All right.
sitting over there in Auckland, we're sitting over here in the UK.
Sure.
But you know what? We really, really appreciate you taking your time out, allowing us to give you an encounter today.
Thank you, Paji.
But again, hopefully we'll do this again. We'll get Kuldeep Singh this time and Lakwinder Singh as well.
Oh,
And
definitely.
we'll get an update maybe in a few months' time and see where you are. And we'll discuss more so the comparisons of UK and New Zealand again and see if we can't learn
Sure.
anything from each other's cultures, respective different cultures, not the Punjabi heritage we share. But Paji, again, thank you. Appreciate you taking part in this show today and participating. Appreciate it a lot. All right, Paji.
Thank you for
Vaheguru Ji
having
Ka
me, Paji.
Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Paji.
So that was Simran Singh of the Born Overseas Sikh Society of New Zealand, giving his reasons for the demonstration against Jazzy B in Auckland, and their reason for the existence of the organisation itself, and what their feelings are regarding Punjabi music, Diljit Dosanjh, Gippy Grewal, and those issues. But that's it. That's all we've got time for Encounters this week. So we're going to see you again next week. But before we go, I'd just like to say that we've heard the news, I'm sure you have as well, that a body has been found by Strathclyde police. Although it's not been formally identified, they believe it's the body of Manveer Singh, who was missing for several months. At this point, nobody can be certain, but we'd just like to send our condolences to the family and to everybody that knew Manveer Singh. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.